I'm Pete Vermilyea for Litchfield.bz and the Hidden in Plain Sight blog.com. And September means back to school, and we are going to look at the history of education in Litchfield. We are out on Newcomb Road on the Litchfield-Goshen town line, and behind me is a one-room schoolhouse. Public education in Connecticut began in 1717. The law required each parish to fund a school for its students. So a town with multiple parishes would have to have multiple schools. By 1741, when the school in Northfield opened, Litchfield had 14 different schools. And the school behind us is a very typical one-room schoolhouse, usually about 20 feet by 25 feet inside. You'll see the two doors, one for boys, one for girls. A teacher hired to teach all students, from those who couldn't read to those who were of high school age. And it was very typical for those older students to help in the education of the younger students. The one-room schoolhouse model lasted until about 1900 in many places, when some changes in education made changes in the way schools were administered necessary. So parents of the students were required to pay tuition, but the town covered the cost for any students whose parents couldn't afford their tuition. Inside this building, students would sit on backless benches, positioned along the sides of the building, all facing the teacher. Teachers often called the students up one at a time to recite their lesson for the day, while the rest of the class sat on their benches and watched and thought about what their lesson for the day would be when they were called up. So we have moved now to the intersection of East Street, Route 118, and Route 202, the Torrington Road, where in 1888 the new Litchfield High School was built. The one-room schoolhouse for the borough of Litchfield stood on West Street, and it was had a reputation of being a horrible school. And Arthur Bostwick, who left a memoir of growing up in Litchfield in the 1800s, said that no one who could afford to go to one of the institutes would go to school there in the borough school. There were two private schools, one on North Street and one on South Street, and those were the two institutes, the Litchfield Institute and the Walcott Institute. But in 1886, a fire swept through downtown Litchfield, and they rebuilt the school here at this intersection on East Street, and it became the Litchfield High School. And this corresponded with a curricular need for a business community that was looking for students who were more skilled in math, could run machines, could repair machines, and they needed a different skill set that they were getting in the one-room schoolhouses. And so the Litchfield High School stood here on this site from 1888 until 1925. So we moved to the other side of the green, and we're out in front of Center School in Litchfield. And in the early 20th century, there was a movement to do away with all the one-room schoolhouses in favor of a single school in each town to ensure that all students there were taught the same curriculum. The result was the Center School, or the Consolidated School. Litchfield Center School opened in 1925, and above its brick facade is an inscription commemorating that year as the bicentennial of the town's first appropriation for public education. These are just some stories associated with education in Litchfield. There are obviously many more out there, and we'd love to hear them. If you have a story to share about Litchfield schools or attending schools in Litchfield, please contact us at Litchfield.bz or at hiddeninplainsightblog.com.